Hey everybody, we're on the penultimate video, so we only have, well, at least for the main story, because, well, I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, but, yeah, this fight, everybody knows this fight, they didn't really like it. I think people didn't like it. As far as I know, people didn't like it. They thought it felt too Kingdom Heartsy. I, for one, don't like the fight simply because it's boring. I don't think it's really that interesting, to be honest. Like all the lore implications around it are really cool, like the theory crafting you can get from it and basically how it's going to tie into say Rebirth and everything else that we've kind of been teased about, like is really cool. That I'll give it. It's really awesome in that aspect, but like as far as like the actual fight goes, it's pretty boring. So, um what I wanted to do initially was kind of use every character, every playable character at least once. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that. When you get to basically the Bahamut bit, the Bahamut part of the fight, it just kind of falls apart. Because I wanted to use Aerith for that bit, because it's the only time you'll have Aerith in your party during this fight, and it just falls apart. Bahamut's two up my ass, or two up your ass all the time to basically, you know, do what I want to do. And yeah, sure, I can use Planet's Protection. It saves you from a little bit of his attacks, you know, some of his physical attacks. But overall, like he's just always in your grill, and that makes it very hard for Aerith to kind of set up shop, do what she needs to do to cast her spells and everything like that. So it just made it really complicated. So unfortunately, I had to X her out of it, and I'm kind of upset about that because I wanted to use, yeah, as I said, Cloud, Tifa. Well, Cloud wasn't going to be used in this fight. He was going to get used in the final boss fight against Sephiroth. But still, either way, I would have been able to use every single character in basically the final bosses, because this is kind of considered a final boss of the game. But yeah, enough about me ranting. Let's get into it. So while these cutscenes are playing, I'm gonna show you kind of the I'm gonna show you the materia setups I have for Barret and Tifa, because these are the two characters that I'm gonna be using in the fight. Um, yeah, I'm gonna talk about like this game in general, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about what I'm gonna do after the main story's done. Because there's still some other bosses that I can fight, and I'm thinking I'm going to do them because I don't have them on my channel yet, and I kind of want them on there. And yeah, so overall, this game is great. We're like what 40 we're like 40 some odd days out from Rebirth. You know, it's almost right around the corner here. Hopefully we're getting a demo here pretty soon. A lot of people are saying, myself included, that we might get it on January 31st, which is like an anniversary in Japan for Final Fantasy VII. So there you go. 31st, it'd be a month out from the game's release. Perfect time to release the demo, right? That's You've probably seen some creators around here have actually played. I haven't played it yet because I'm not cool enough to get invited to those events. Hopefully someday, but yeah, overall, yeah, the hype train. They released they released a hype trailer pretty much like what in the last 24 hours, which was pretty good. It's not very spoilery at all. I like it. It was really cool. It's like a minute long, very very hype trailer, pretty much overall. But yeah, anyways, like I really like this game. Some of the I know some people out there really didn't like some of like the changes in the story that they did, particularly with this part. Um, I can understand why you didn't like it, because you're just kind of like, whoa, they're gonna change. You know, the second game's gonna be completely different from the OG, and the developers have even said themselves, you know, that it's still going to follow the same story beats. They just may be in a different order, you know what I mean? So, overall, I don't think they're changing much from the from the OG game. I just think how it plays out, like some things will be different a little bit, but overall, like the main story beats are going to remain the same, and that has me excited. So that I'm okay with. I'm perfectly okay with, you know, them changing some story bits. Like, to be honest, I didn't mind. Like this part, I did not mind it so much. Like I didn't hate it.
Over there.
Sure, the boss fight's boring, and sure, like it's, you know, the boss fight's kind of boring, and sure, it's like ridiculous and stuff, but then think about it. What Final Fantasy final boss is not ridiculous? You know, if you can go back to some of the older Final Fantasy games, like you get to a certain point where all of a sudden, like, now you're fighting a god, you know? You thought you fought the last boss, and then suddenly God appears, and now you're fighting a god. And, you know, like FF9 for example, you get done fighting Kuja, and then suddenly you're fighting Necron, you know, up in like this weird. You're up in the sky. You're literally floating in the air fighting Necron, and Necron is never mentioned in the game at all. And suddenly he just appears. You know what I mean? So it's all like, to be honest, this stuff happening in this game is not really that different from what usually happens in Final Fantasy games in the first place. And I know a lot of people say, well, it's like Kingdom Hearts and stuff, and I'm like, okay, Kingdom Hearts did not start the JRPG trope of fighting some enormous, like, space looking creature, you know, or fighting fate, I guess, because in this case we're fighting fate. You know, so to be honest, like, this is not a specific Kingdom Hearts thing. I know, like, some people, I think just people just like trashing on it for some reason. They say it's like, oh, Nomura did it, you know, and it's like, oh, okay, no, stop it, guys, stop it. Like, this stuff is more Advent Children than anything else. Like, if you watch what's gonna happen in this cutscene, it has Advent Children written all over it. And then and then if you watch the Sephiroth fight, the next fight, spoilers, like there's literally Advent Children all over it. The colors are almost like reminiscent of Advent Children. So like, to me, like, that doesn't bother me so much. If they want to like the way that they've incorporated say, like the extended universe, I guess you can say, for Final Fantasy VII in this game, they did a really great job with it, in my opinion. Like, they added the deep ground stuff in Intergrade, which I think was implemented well, in my opinion. Like, there's Whis in there. You get to fight the other deep ground member. I forget his name, but he's like the final boss in the game, and he's awesome in my opinion. You know, and you know, a lot of people didn't like Dirge of Cerberus. I didn't like Dirge of Cerberus. I definitely didn't like Dirge of Cerberus. But them incorporating that stuff into this universe and actually making it well is something I'm okay with. You know, even if they add like the Crisis Core stuff, like there's even like a somewhat of a mention of I believe Benora, which is Genesis's hometown and stuff. Like, I think there's even a mention of Genesis in this game, in Final Fantasy VII Remake. Then you even see Kunsel. You know, Kunsel's there. He pops up. He recognizes Cloud. You know, that's a cool little nod to, like, you know. Plus, it also plays into Cloud's character, right? You know, it's perfect. I think that's well implemented. And then the fact that, you know, they have the Whis boss fight, which I think is a really fun boss fight. It's actually a really fun boss fight. It's pretty cool. They put that in there. So I'm okay. I'm definitely okay with them implementing the extended universe stuff and then making it better. Like, if they can make it better, I'm all for it. You know, it works. That's why this stuff doesn't bother me. And this is kind of like, and then there's the theory around here, like the 3 enemies that you're about to fight are basically reminiscent of the 3 Sephiroth clones. I guess, are they considered clones? Yeah, they're considered clones. These 3 are the 3 that you see in Advent Children. Was it? Trying to remember their names off the top of my head. Lodge, Kadaj, and I forget the 3rd one's name. But I think I said his name in like one of the previous videos. But the 3 of them are basically, these guys are basically them. You know what I mean? And you can kind of tell the fire one is is the sword wielder one. I'm forgetting his damn name. And then, you know, the other two. So, like, but yeah, it's cool. The implications are cool. It's basically trying to hammer home that point where it feels like it's teasing you to say that, like, this is Advent Children's Sephiroth. He's come back in time. That's why we saw him earlier in the game. Like, we saw him in the very beginning of the game, which in the original doesn't happen. You don't hear about Sephiroth until you get to Midgard Tower. Or until you get to Shinra Tower, sorry. Not Midgard Tower, but either way, it's in Midgard. Yeah, you don't hear about Sephiroth until then. And then in this game, you see him literally in the second chapter. Right after the bombing run, you run into Sephiroth, and he's there. And he's teasing you. And throughout the game, he pops in and he teases you, you know? And he's talking in Cloud's ear and stuff like that. And then basically at the end of this, when you get done with the final boss fight, you have that moment that's in the OG where it's like they go into like the apex of creation or whatever, and they basically have their duel. And I know some people didn't like that either. They're like, well, that's too soon. Why they're using this too soon? That means that it's not going to be in the final game. Well, okay, yeah, sure. That's possible, but to be honest, I think the final boss of the third game is going to be completely different than the OG game. I don't think it's going to be like the straight up like Cloud goes 1v1 against him. I think maybe he will. That's possible. That's kind of too far speculating because we haven't played Rebirth yet, so we don't know how that's going to play out. Okay. So I still think they may have that 1v1 fight with Sephiroth. But I think overall, like, what's going to happen in the third game is the final boss is going to be different. I don't know. That's just so I don't mind it so much that it's in this game. I thought it was a really cool moment where, you know, Sephiroth can tease Cloud a little bit more, where he's like 7 seconds to the end, you know, that famous line that's got everybody wondering what the hell he's talking about, you know. Like 7 seconds till the end, what will you do with it? You know, kind of thing. And could mean a multitude of things, you know. Some people, obviously the first time people heard it, my first thought was like, oh, that's Aerith, right? He's talking about Aerith's death. You know, it's huge. He could be talking about a few different things, you know, like there could be some other things. Maybe he's talking about Omni Slash. I don't know, some crazy thing. Some crazy thing he's talking about Omni Slash for some reason, you know. This is the move you killed me with. it's like 7 seconds to the end. What are you gonna do with it, you know? Or he's talking about the meteor at some point. I don't know how that ties into 7 seconds, but maybe there's something different with it. I don't know, you know. It's a giant tease, and I like it. This is kind of what I'm enjoying about this direction, is because, like, for the fans who have played the OG game, you know, who know that story, it's like we're getting to play Final Fantasy VII again for the first time, right? And yeah, sure, we know certain things that are going to happen in the game, or we don't, right? You know, because people have even said, they're like, I don't even think Aerith is going to get killed, you know. Some people have even said Tifa's going to die, you know. Some people have even said that nobody's going to die, you know what I mean? Like, there's a whole lot of speculation. Like, we are unsure whether or not Aerith is even going to die. I mean, I still think it's going to happen. I don't think Tifa's going to die because I feel like Tifa is too integral to Cloud's character growth, because basically she's like the catalyst for Cloud finding himself. You know what I mean? She's in his memories with him and stuff. They're both experiencing that together and stuff. They're childhood friends and everything, so they have that common thing. It's like, yeah, Tifa's too important to Cloud's growth, I think, for her to die. And then considering that if Tifa dies, that doesn't really have the big implications that Aerith's death does to the planet, because Aerith is more tied to the planet than Tifa is, you know, obviously, because Aerith is an ancient, so she has that connection to the life stream. And considering that she has that she seems in this game, in Remake at least, she has the awareness of Sephiroth. You know what I mean? Like, she's the one warning everybody about him. Like, Well, Cloud obviously knows him, but Aerith is, and then now Red 13 kind of has, because you see that look, he's like, that's a glimpse into tomorrow if we fail today. That line right there is actually, like, I feel kind of important. They're basically saying that, like, so what happens if we fail here today? If we do not stop fate, we're going to go down that same path that we've done before. We're going to walk down that same road, and then basically, sure, we're going to beat Sephiroth, right? But it's not going to be a happy ending. You know? We're going to defeat him, we're going to stop Meteor, but the whole world's going to kind of suffer for it. You know what I mean? So, like, this game, like, it's almost like Remake is telling everybody that Final Fantasy VII OG's ending was not a happy ending. I know some people think of it that way. You stop Meteor, you stop Sephiroth, but ultimately he pops back up in Advent Children, right? He's still wreaking havoc on the planet even when he's gone, right? So he's not fully gone. So it's almost like we're doing this to basically to keep the ghosts from funneling us on that story bit. This is kind of what they've been spending this entire game telling everybody, is like, these ghosts are here to keep us on a set path. They want us doing things. That's why Barret didn't die, you know? That's why when he got stabbed, he didn't die. The ghost healed him and stuff. That's why, like, when Cloud was told that he wasn't going to join the next reactor mission, the ghost came in and intervened and injured Jesse to basically force it. So Cloud now has to join the mission, right? And then obviously, like, the ghosts were there to stop the party from showing up before the guys attacking the pillar, you know, basically got their asses kicked, right? They stalled them, you know, like, the ghosts were there to keep everything, to keep the OG story from happening, you know, to keep the OG story, yeah, not from happening, but to keep it happening, you know what I mean? So, like, yeah, now that we've destroyed the Arbiters of Fate, basically, which is what these guys are, because these guys are basically saying that, like, hey, we're gonna show up in the future, we're here to stop you. Like, these ghosts that are kind of reminiscent of the twins, or the triplets, I guess, the triplets in Advent Children. So these guys are here to help. They're helping Sephiroth be like, we gotta stop these guys from destroying Fate, basically, you know what I mean? I know, it sounds stupid, but, like, this is totally in line with Final Fantasy. You know, killing gods, you know, keeping, you know, like, basically just destroying gods, you know, like, it's like, they always do something outrageous in these games. JRPGs are known for these kinds of things, fighting gods and stopping fate, you know, changing events of the world, you know, stopping time from being destroyed, you know, like, this is just a common thing. That's why this stuff doesn't bother me so much, you know. Yeah, the fight's just boring. That's all I have to say about it. The fight is just dull, you know. It's boring. That's the only thing I don't like about it. That's why I'm talking about the story here. But, like, you know, I can go on forever. It's just like I'm waiting to see what Rebirth does. If Rebirth doesn't, like, blow us away with some answers, you know, like, with the, like, they just drop some kind of big ass bomb on us and stuff, and it's really cool, then yeah, sure, I'm all for it. Like, then I'm saying, like, oh, cool, they did the right thing, you know, they did a really cool thing changing the story. Now we can get the actual happy ending, you know, we can actually finish Sephiroth for good, right? Which I'm thinking that's what they're trying to set up as. And I'm kind of thinking that's why Zack's alive, because they're gonna have, like, this really cool team up with Zack at the very end, and they all destroy Sephiroth. I know some people don't like that Zack is alive. I'm one of those people who's just kind of like wait and see kind of thing. I'm waiting to see what they do with it. Like, how is Zack gonna tie in everything? We don't know anything. They're remaining quiet on that, and that's a good thing. I don't want them showing that stuff off in trailers, because they actually did spoil a lot of stuff in the trailers for Remake, and I unfortunately watched the launch trailer, and it spoiled. It did. I was right. I actually went back and watched it when I was talking about it in my Genova video, in the Genova fight. Yeah, it does get spoiled. They actually showed Barret getting stabbed in that trailer. Yeah, I was trying to remember that, but then like I watched it back, and yeah, they actually did. They showed it off. They spoiled that bit. They spoiled a lot of like final boss stuff too, because they showed off the Sephiroth fight. You know, they showed a little bit of it at least. You know, they showed Sephiroth summoning the meteor and everything. So yeah, they spoiled quite a lot in that launch trailer, so I'm not going to be watching the launch trailer for Rebirth at all, if they do have one, which I'm pretty sure they will. Because like we're getting in that dangerous territory where I just don't like, because Square Enix tends to do that. They tend to kind of spoil a lot in their trailers. So I'm not going to watch that trailer when it comes out. But yeah, like they're remaining very really hush hush on Zack. At least they've showed him a little bit. They showed him in like one of the trailers or something. You know, like he's standing over Aerith sleeping, which is like, what? That's weird. You know, like, which kind of does say that like two different timelines or whatever, because Aerith is obviously with this party and not asleep in bed. You know, and then Biggs is there too, so it's like, where's Biggs, right? Biggs was talking to Zack, right? So he's clearly in Zack's timeline or something like that. Like, what happened? You know, it's weird. Like, I feel like we're gonna learn this stuff in Rebirth. We're gonna learn about that, and it's gonna be like, and I'm hoping it's really, really good, because the developers seem like that they're very confident that like what they're doing is gonna be interesting. You know, it's still gonna be cool for. It's still going to be cool for like OG fans, you know, they're going to come back and be like, oh, I know that, that's really cool and stuff. And then like, then there's going to be something different where it's like, whoa, dude, that's freaking cool. You know, I'm just kind of in that wait and see. I'm not going to say that like with everything that they're going to do is that like, not everything they're going to do, not everybody's going to like. I think some people are going to hate it, which is, it's fine. It's fine. Some people just want like a one-for-one remake of the original game. They're like, just keep the original game, you know, and don't change anything and stuff. And it's like, I don't know. Do you guys really want to play the same game again? That's just a question that I like to ask. Like, do you guys really want like the same exact game? Like, they do not change anything. And it's like, there's no mystery. There's no intrigue to it at all. Like, you know exactly what's gonna happen, when it's gonna happen, how it's gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I feel like I would just like, except the only difference is it looks pretty and it's fully voiced and all that stuff. Like, sure, you know, like, yeah, that'd be really cool. But at the same time, like, you're playing the same exact story. I don't know if I could do that again. You know, I don't know if I want to do that again. That's kind of like ultimately my point, is that I like what they're doing. They're changing things up. So now it's like, dude, I know this game. I played this game a lot. I played the OG game a lot. I've even played this game quite a bit. This is like my 5th or 6th time playing it. But yeah, like, and I'm sitting here like, I have no idea what they're gonna do. Like, what's gonna happen in Rebirth? I know some of the things are gonna happen. Like, we're gonna go to locations, we're gonna go to places, and we're gonna be like, oh, so is this gonna happen here? You know, like, yeah, we're like people. Yeah, we're gonna be able to be like, oh yeah, dude, this is what happened here. You know, but then there's gonna be other things where it's like, ooh, I'm interested to see what they do with it. You know, yeah, just ultimately, like, there's some things about this game I didn't like. I didn't like the second visit to the sewers. That was boring. It was unnecessary. I felt like that was really padded. The drum, which is the Hojo dungeon or whatever, that one was kind of it was whatever. It looked really cool, but it was wasn't really like my favorite bit of it. The side quests were kind of you know, like they're cool on like the first playthrough or whatever, and they're cool for kind of like certain bits where, you know, like you can do ones where Tifa, where you can pick her dress, which later on she'll wear that dress during the wall market sequence. It's the same with Aerith. Whatever you do during the side quest is what dress she's gonna wear, which is kind of cool. I like that. That's kind of a nice touch. But like overall, like the side quests they're all right. I'm hoping like the side quests in Rebirth are even better. And it looks like there's going to be like more to do, you know, because they're going to have like this whole card game and stuff, which is like awesome, you know, like that's badass. I think that's pretty cool, because I think they did a really good job with the Fort Condor minigame and Intergrade, so that's pretty awesome. So yeah, like, yeah, there's definitely some things that and obviously, like, this game is pretty linear. I know, like, and that's kind of the point. I think Midgar was always linear. Midgar is linear in the OG game. You're on this set path, do it, kind of thing. Once you get out of Midgar, that's when the game really opens up. So that's what Rebirth is saying. And then don't listen to those people complaining like, if the game's open world, man. It's like, did you guys not play the original game? The original game was open world, you freaking numpties. Oh god, those people on Twitter are freaking weird. I swear, but I'm not going to get into that. So anyways, I'm going to talk in like the last 3 minutes. I'm going to talk about what I'm going to be doing next. So I'm going to do the Integrate. I'm going to do the Integrate DLC. I'm going to play Yuffie. I'm going to do her boss fights. I don't think I'm going to do anything particularly different with it. Maybe I'll stick to like no HP plus. I don't know how to make it challenging, because I think the fights by itself are actually challenging. Well, I know the final boss is. The final boss is tough by itself, even with like HP up materials. But I don't know like how well that would go without using Sonin. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm gonna be using his like. So maybe how I'll do it is like I'll still be able to do like the double team attacks. Like the ones where you both like attack at the same time, because I'm not giving commands to Sonin. So I think what I'm gonna do is that maybe I'll just keep it where I cannot use any of Sonin's attacks. Like I just can't issue commands just like I couldn't in this game. Or maybe I'll just stick to it like I'll just keep it like OG, because you're playing Yuffie by herself anyways, so I don't know, it feels like it's solo. I think it's solo enough. Maybe I'll have to figure that out. And then I think after I do Integrate, I'm going to do like the VR bosses. I'll fight the summons. I'll do like the Weiss fight, whatever, however you want to pronounce his name. I'll do the Pride and Joy fights for both of them. I'll do Yuffie's, and I'll do the base game party. I'll do both those fights, because you get Pride and Joy fights for both of them. So I'll do both of those. So I'll do all of those like really hard fights. And this should lead me up to like, should allow me to lead up into like the demo and stuff, which I'm gonna stream. I'm going to stream the demo, and I'm also going to stream the game. Like my first playthrough of Rebirth, I'm going to stream it. So if any of you all actually want to watch me live stream the game, I can put my link to my Twitch account in this description if you want to kind of go and follow me over there. Because this year, 2024, I want to start streaming a little bit more. Because like I've done it off and on for like the last 5 or 6 years. It hasn't been very consistent. I stream here and there and stuff. Unfortunately, I have no VODs because they're all gone. But yeah, like this year I want to make it more consistent. I want to add like Twitch streaming on top of like me making videos and stuff. So yeah, yeah. So that's kind of like my plans leading up to Rebirth and stuff. There's some other games that I wanted to play, but I think I'm gonna play that after Rebirth happens. So that's not going to be for a while. Probably going to be on Rebirth for a month, maybe 2, depending. I have a feeling that this is going to be like Witcher 3 for me, where I played Witcher 3 for like 3 months. So yeah, it's going to be huge. I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, overall, this is going to be the end of the video, and I'll see you guys in the final boss fight for the base game. So be sure to follow my Twitch, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.